Ready? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وعن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يطيل القراءة في الركعتين بعد المغرب حتى يتفرق أهل المسجد. رواه أبو داود. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said Nabi Akram should lengthen the qiraat in the two rakats after Maghrib until the people of the masjid used to all until the people split up, in others until they all went away. Used to still be reciting, right? Uh, From this hadith, we understand that Nabi Akram read his he should sometimes read his two rakats in the masjid. So there's many possibilities here. One is that he had some excuse by which he could not go into his room, right? Second is that he did it to show it's permissible to read your sunnahs in the masjid. Third is he was in itikaf. You understand it? And therefore he could not go to his room. And the fourth is that he didn't actually read in the masjid, but he read in his room. But because his room was connected to the masjid, so it seemed like he was reading in the masjid. So here, okay, they show that Nabi Karim Sassam would recite long qiraat here, right? But normally the habit of Nabi Karim Sassam was that in the Sunnah al Maghrib he would recite short surahs like Kul Ya al Kafirun, Kul Allahu Ahad, etc. والمكحول يبلغ به أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولمن صلى بعد المغرب قبل أن يتكلم ركعتين وفي رواية 4 ركعات رفعت صلاته في عليين مرسلا. Makhul rahmatullah, he makes it reach to Nabi Akram Sam. He said that Nabi Akram Sam says whoever recites after Maghrib before he speaks 2 rakats and in riwayat 4 rakats, then his salah will be raised to Illiyin. And this riwayat is mursal because the Sahabi's name is not mentioned here. All right. So what does it mean is salah will reach to Illiyin? It will mean that the salah will be accepted. It will reach the highest stage and it will be accepted. He'll get lots of reward for it. Illiyin is that place in the 7th heaven where the believers, the ruh of the believers reach. And that's also where the a'mal is recorded, right? وأن حذيفة نحوه وزاد فكان يقول أجلوا الركعتين بعد المغرب فإنهما ترفعان مع المكتوبة. رواهما رزين وروى البيهقي الزيادة عنه نحوها في شعب الإيمان. Nazeem Muzaifar also similar to the previous hadith. However, he increases and he says that hasten the 2 rakats after Maghrib because they are raised with the faras. They are raised with the faras, right? And this is narrated by Razin and Bayhaqi, also narrated with a little bit more similar to it in Shu'ab al-Iman, right? So what does this hadith here mean now? It means that because your faras salahs is going up to Illiyin, right? Therefore, you shouldn't delay in reciting the sunnats after the faras so that it can go together with the faras to Illiyin, right? And then the malaika don't have to wait, right? Right, so then now, if a person's house now is far, like we said, you should try and read your nafil and sunnats at home. And if it is far from the masjid, then it's obvious now that you won't be now reading your salahs quickly. You understand? Because you need to walk still. However, the ulama say then still you should read your salah at home to get that reward of reading the salah at home. And that is because there's great reward for reading the nawafil at home. And therefore the ulama feel that you should still go home and read your nawafil at home. However, like we mentioned, nowadays the ulama say must read your nawafil at masjid as an encouragement for those that are lazy. You understand it? And you find most of the people, if they go home, they won't read the nawafil, the sunnah. When Abd ibn Attar قال إن نافع ibn Jubayr أرسله إلى السائب يسأله عن شيء رآه منه معاوية في الصلاة فقال نعم صليت معه الجمعة في المقصورة فلما سلم الإمام قمت في مقامي فصليت فلما دخل أرسل إلي فقال لا تعد لما فعلت إذ صليت الجمعة فلا تصلها وجب فلا تصلها ولا تصليها تصل ولا تصلها بصلاة حتى تكلم أو أو تخرج فإن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم أمرنا بذلك ألا توصل بصلاة حتى نتكلم ألا نوصل بصلاة حتى نتكلم أو نخرج رواه Muslim. Then from Amr ibn Atta rahmatullahi said that indeed Nafi ibn Jubair sent him to Sa'ib asking him about something which Muawiyah radiallahu anhu saw from him in the Salah, right? So he said yes. So he's now narrating this. Who's this? Sa'ib now is narrating this. He said, this is what Muawiyah saw to me, saw from me, and this is what he told me. So he said, yes, I recited with him Jumma in the Maksura. Right. And when the Imam made salam, I stood up in my place and I recited. I started making now my sunnats and nawafil, right? So when he entered now his house, he sent a message to me, right? And he said, do not repeat what you just did. When you recite Jummah, then do not join it with another salah until you speak or you come out. Because indeed, Nabi Akal Sama was ordered that what orders us with that we should not join a salah, we should not join a salah with another salah, right? Until we speak or we come out, right? So previously, in the leaders and the kings, they used to have a special place, and this place was called Maksura, right? Where the Khalifa or the king would stand, right? And then saying here, إِذَا صَلَّيْتَ الْجُمْعَةِ, when you recite Jum'ah, not only Jum'ah, any salah you recite it, then you not read your nawafil, etc. in the same place as that. Try and move a little bit. You understand it? Right. Right. Then we have, so how do you come out now? For example, you're reading Faraz in one place, then you don't read your Sunnati Muakkada or Ghair Muakkada in the same place. Rather, you move a little bit. You go a little bit forward, right, left. You understand? That would be amount to coming out. And the whole thing is that you're creating a separation between the two salahs. And that, so one is coming out, you come out of the masjid, right? That's hakikatan to come out. And hukman coming out now is you move off that place and go to another spot and read your nafil. So that's also equal to coming out of the masjid. And then they say the other one is, or either you speak or you speak. It means you speak something. It's not zikr. Zikr in it won't be speak. So one is you finish your faraz, you made zikr, and then you stop same place and you recite it. Try and move a little bit, right or left. You understand it? And then, yeah. So then they say that otherwise it's going to be that you spoke, you spoke some worldly thing. Or you said salam. You understand? You greeted somebody, yeah, which means you spoke then. You greeted somebody, you spoke. So that you made now a separation between your faraz and your nawafil. Right. When Ata'in rahmatullah qala kan Ibn Umar idha salla al-jum'ata بمكة تقدم فصلى ركعتين ثم يتقدم فيصلي أربعا فإذا كان بالمدينة صلى الجمعة ثم رجع إلى بيته فصلى ركعتين ولم يصلي في المسجد فقيل له فقال كان الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم يفعله رواه أبو داود وفي رواية الترمذي قال رأيت ابن عمر صلى بعد الجمعة ركعتين ثم صلى بعد ذلك أربعا. Right. Nazeem Atta rahmatullahi said Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, when he should recite Jummah in Makkah, then he would go forward a little bit, then he would recite 2 rakats, then he would go forward again a little bit, then he would recite 4 rakats. And when he was in Medina, then he would recite Jummah, then he would return to his house, then he would recite 2 rakats. and he never recited these sunnahs in the masjid in Medina. So it was asked of him. So he said, Nabi Karim used to do this, do it like this. Narrated by Abu Dawud. And when the riwayat of Tirmizi, he said, I saw Ibn Umar reciting after Jummah 2 rakats, and he recited after that 4 rakats. Right. Ulama mentioned that the reason as Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu had this difference of ma'mul in Makkah and Medina was because in Medina his house was close to the masjid, but in Makkah he was a musafir. So then he was most probably staying far from the masjid. You understand it? Therefore he just read his sunnahs in the masjid but moved a little bit. And then we find that in Makkah we find that he used to recite 6 rakats. After in Medina only 2 rakats. And that is because obviously now reading in the haram there's more reward. So therefore they would recite 6, right? And then obviously we have now the ikhtilafs there. Imam Abu Hanifah Rahmanullah says there's 4 sunnats after Jummah. And Sahibain say there's 6. You understand it? 4 and 2, right? Babu Salatil Layli, right? When it comes now to Tahajjud Salah, when it comes to Salatul Layl, there's different riwayats, right? And whichever of the riwayat you follow and you recite that amount of rakats, then you will be rewarded. And if you take one hadith from there and you do it, the different rakats, making intention of following each of these hadiths, then you'll be even rewarded greater because now you're following the exact sunnah, right? So when it comes now, so there were riwayats of 13 rakats, 11 rakats, 9 rakats, 7 rakats, right? And some even said 5 rakats. Nevertheless, more than 13 rakats is not established. Then the ulama also say, some say that the amounts here includes the 2 sunnats of Fajr, and some say it doesn't include, right? And then when it comes to the witr, there's also different riwayats. Some riwayats say 1 rakat, some say 3 rakats. And some riwayats include the witr amongst the tahajjud rakats. And some riwayats exclude the witr separately. And some riwayats also say witr is 1 rakat, 3 rakat, some say 5, some say up to 7. And some have even called all the rakats at night witr. So all this now, there's so many different, if you look at it, the hadiths are covering everything. And like I said, sometimes they include the 2 of Fajr, sometimes they exclude it, sometimes they mention everything as witr, like that. So as we go on, we'll find that out now. When Aisha radiallahu anha قالت كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يصلي فيما بين أن يفرغ من صلاة العشاء إلى الفجر 11 ركعة يسلم من كل ركعتين ويوتر بواحدة فيسجد سجدة من ذلك قدر ما يقرأ أحدكم 50 آية قبل أن يرفع رأسه وإذا سكت المؤذن من صلاة الفجر وتبين له الفجر قام فركع ركعتين خفيفتين ثم اضطجع على شق الأيمن حتى يأتيه المؤذن للإقامة فيخرج متفق عليه. Right. The Aisha Nariyallah said, Nabi Akram you see recite in that which he completes from the Salat of Isha until Fajr 11 rakats. And he used to make salam in every 2 rakats. And he used to make witr with 1 rakat. Right. Then he used to make a sajda from that, the amount of that which one of you would recite 50 ayats before he would raise his head. So when the muazzin would keep quiet from the Salat of Fajr, in other words, when he finished the Salat, the Azan of Fajr, and the dawn becomes clear to him, he would stand up and then he would perform 2 rakats, light rakats, right? That's the 2 sunnahs of Fajr. Then he would lie down on his right side until the muazzin would come to him for iqamah. Then he would come out, muttafaqun alayhi. Right. Imam Ibn Hajar Shafi Rahmatullah, he say from this hadith you learn two things. He says, firstly, the least amount of witr is now also 1 rakat. You can read witr as 1 rakat. Secondly, every 2 rakats you should make salam. And this is the maslak of Imam Shafi, Imam Malik, and Imam Ahmad. Right. Imam Wanifa Rahmatullah, obviously, he says now witr is 3 rakats. Right. And for sujudu sajda, he makes a sajda. So outwardly it seems like Nabi Akram made every sajda so long. Or it is possible that only the sajda of the witr, you understand, was made so long. Right. After the sunnahs of Fajr, we find that Nabi Akram would lie down so that all the tiredness from the whole night's ibadat, it would go away with that short lie down, you understand? And then he would be fresh for Fajr. Right. Okay, leave it till me.